What up, world? It's your boy Mark Walter Ward, Super Fact Show, Super Fast Network. Today we got with us somebody I've known for a while. I was very happy to discover that this young gentleman wrote the book Ghosts of East Baltimore. My man David Simmons. This is available on Amazon right now. Make sure you get a copy. How you doing today, brother?
Man, I'm great, bro. It's great to be talking with you again. It's been a minute. I really appreciate you having me on here.
No doubt, man. Last time I saw you was like right before I moved to Houston, so I know that's been more than 10 years.
Wow. Holy shit, it has because we linked up before I put out my Year of the Dog project, which was 2012. And we linked up, so yeah, that is 10 fucking you. Goddamn.
Yeah, I done had a kid. I done had a kid that's in third grade since then.
Bro, I got a daughter that's 16 months old. Shit crazy.
Yeah,
Congrats.
yeah, you
To
too.
you.
What you think about how's being a father treating you?
I mean, being a father, being married, all that completely changed everything. I
Yeah,
mean, it's right, like it's just different. It's just very different. I just don't care about things other than my family, like my wife and my daughter. Like my this is gonna sound bad, but it's honest. So it is what it is. But I was never a very empathetic person anyway,
right.
and become less empathetic to outside stimuli to my family. You understand? So it's like I'm very protective of my family, and part of being protective of my family means protecting them from the old behaviors that I used to be up to, right?
Yeah, fair enough.
So honestly, the most dangerous thing to my family could be me reverting back to who I was 10 years ago or whatever, the sort of person I was. So, I had to change myself to be a father and a husband. So yeah, definitely.
Damn, that's deep. That's one of them shits that like on a. Hey, you remember that movie Slam when Homeboy started saying the poetry? The dude from DC was like in DC jail, and he started saying the poetry in the yard when they was about to fight, and the one band was like, I forgot what I was even thinking about and shit.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's like one of them moments. I should have known that. You know one thing. There's that big ass vocabulary. Like, bro, I like to consider myself, pretty wordy, whatever. See, I guess my vocabulary ain't that motherfucking big, but you know what I'm saying. I feel I'm a little eloquent, and man, this book sent me to the dictionary like 15, 20 times.
That's what's up, man. I try to, you know, when people I've done some interviews and things with like people in the literary world, right?
Right.
And I've been called, not in a bad way or good way, just a way, an outsider author. I don't have an MFA. I didn't go to some crazy Iowa writers grad school program, none of that shit. You feel me?
Right.
I'm from the streets. I did time. I sold dope. You know what I mean? That's my shit. So I wanted to let people know that I also can write and know words and shit like that. You know what I mean?
I mean, I
So
could tell it's not like you just wanted to make it look like you knew big words and was like changing words by going to like dictionary.com. But like one thing I was curious about, like when I saw all the glasses shit, I recognized that, from that time you gave me the tutorial on the sunglasses. But
is that
but like the medical shit, I was really impressed with that. And like I don't know if this is pretentious for me to say, but I kind of got the feeling that like that was just what you wanted to write. Like I said, it wasn't you just changing shit. Like you already knew that shit.
you are very right about that. But I want to tell you, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about one of the chapters towards the end of the book. There's a whole sequence where Worm, the main character, is forced to watch this operation by
Right.
doctors. Remove the amygdala, which is the part of your brain, that's the organ in your brain that
Bro, that was like the only word I did know. Like
right,
out the whole jump.
right. See, but for anybody listening, that's the joint that gives you your fight or flight response. So it control your fear regulation, right? So in that scene, I knew what I wanted. I knew I wanted a medical operation, an amygdala removed, and I knew I wanted it to be through the eye, right? I knew that's what I wanted. But see, the thing is, I'm just like with my music back in the day. I'm big into authenticity and art. I have a cousin who's doing his residency in Rochester. He's a doctor, right? Yo, we was on the phone playing Call of Duty in the middle of the night, just me asking him hella medical questions over Discord. Like, yo, bro, how would you, if you had to remove somebody's amygdala, how would you do it? He being like, well, why would anybody ever do that? You'd have to go through the neck. And I'm like, nah, I need it to go through the eye so the character isn't missing their eye. And he's like, well, that would be a terrible idea, but to do it, you see what I'm saying? So things like that, if I don't know something, I do the research till I understand it, and then I can present it. You know, it wasn't like, yo, bro, dictate this whole shit to me and I'm gonna write it down. Right. I really him to explain to me where the amygdala is, how it works, what happens, what tools are used for that sort of operation. So I reached out to certain people to make sure certain shit I didn't know about was on point. You know what I'm talking about?
Obviously my wife remembers your music, so this is how I described the book to her. She asked me like for a description because obviously anybody who knows you, they're gonna be curious that you wrote a book. You know what I mean? And I told her it's kind of like if Donald Goines had wrote a Clockwork Orange and then Guillermo del Toro had made a movie out of that.
Bruh, that's like an amazing compliment. I like everything you just said in that sentence. I mean, first of all, Donald Goines is an author I'm very inspired by. Not just all of the books he's written, from Black Girl Lost to Dope Fiend to I mean, there's so many. But the thing is, I like that you mentioned that because see, Donald Goines, it isn't just his art that interests me, it's his story. Do you know about like what happened to him?
Yeah, he was in prison and was a heroin addict and all that, right?
But yes, but do you know what happened to him, why he got murdered? Him and his girl or his wife or whatever?
I mean, I think I did at one point, but I don't remember like that, to be real.
It's cool. I don't think a lot of people know exactly what happened. Nobody know exactly, but whole time it really interests me because during the last like year of his life, he was putting out books, boom, 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 right?
Right.
And he had a dope problem. And then they found him and his people's murdered execution style in his apartment, right? And the way I imagine it is Slim was trying to pay off a drug debt by pumping out books, and he just ain't get that money back in time to do it.
And that was a short-sighted drug dealer,
right? But something about that just it mystifies me, and it's the idea of writing, of putting out art fast enough to pay off a debt, like treating art as busting jugs or hitting it's mind-blowing to me. So I love that you said Donald Goines. And Guillermo del Toro, I mean, Pan's Labyrinth, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Mad horror shit, but yeah.
Exactly. Nah, I like that description, bro. I might just snatch that off you real quick.
Oh, hey. I'd be more than happy to write it down to you. I'll write it down for you. But you know some wild coincidental shit. You saw We Own This City? That shit on HBO?
Yeah,
So like this is the last book I read before yours. And what's the chance that like anyone on earth would read 2 books in a row that feature Young Moose in it?
Right? Yo, that's crazy with Young Moose too. He won that settlement against the police.
Yeah, I don't got it over here, but there's another book about Wayne Jenkins. I find Wayne Jenkins to be hilarious as a motherfucker, or at least how he was on that TV show. And the other book though, like almost up to it go up to COVID actually. So it got all the deep about all that shit. It go further than this book. What you think of that shit? You think it was just like up there with The Wire?
So it'll never be as iconic as The Wire,
right? Definitely not.
But it was very well done. And it was important to highlight the Gun Trace Task Force. I interviewed a lot of people in Baltimore for my book, and some of them have had interactions with some of the police in that GTC force.
I'm sure.
And not Jenkins, but what was the other dude that the dude from Baltimore, who's really from Baltimore, played him? He was the other police that
Herschel,
the singing.
Herschel.
Yes, yes. So I know a couple people that, and was Moose, that was the one Moose had a problem with, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, so I know a couple people that have been brutalized, I guess you would say is the word for it.
yeah.
So yes, I think that that show was well done. I think it'll never be as iconic as The Wire, but I think it was very important that they put that out because I feel like The Wire was an indictment of the criminals in Baltimore and the politicians, whereas this was an indictment of the police, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So that's important because
You seen the corner too, right?
yo, I haven't seen it. I've read it. I actually, yo,
I
Pete
have
this.
too.
Hold on.
I got that, John.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, just
That's a
because you
great
said
book. I'm
that,
glad you brought that up.
boom,
Yeah,
I got that joint. You see
David
my
Simon.
little bit rippled on this joint.
Yeah.
Yeah, a good one. I've never seen it. I've only read it. It's
it,
good.
it is. It got a lot of people from The Wire. Man, they do an excellent job, a disgustingly good job of showing like the effects of heroin on your arm and shit. You know,
Ugh.
like them cats got like way different levels of sores and shit. But that shit ain't never on the streaming Jones. You gotta find like one time I found it on Amazon like for rent, but you couldn't buy the episodes and it disappeared. It's like that. It's some other shit from back in the day on HBO. It's like they don't want you to see. I don't know if you remember this shit called High on Lowell Street. You know that movie The Fighter where homeboy be fighting his brother's a crackhead?
I know exactly what you're talking about. You talking about a joint with Mark Wahlberg and Christian
Yeah,
Bale. And I know is that you talking about the Massachusetts documentary joint that was an opiates joint,
yeah,
right?
dog, you can't find that shit. I remember when that shit came out. We was in Oxon Hill watching that shit, geek the fuck out. They were stealing whole golf clubs bags out of Walmart, just like walking out the front with them. And they're like, sometimes it's better just to be bold. Like I'll never forget that shit. But you
You
can't find that
you're
shit
right.
for nothing.
That was one. You know, it's another one I recall, but I don't think you can find that well. It was called Gang Banging in Little
Little
Rock.
Rock, hell yeah, I remember that. Hell yeah.
That and then these are the ones that I have been searching for forever. But do you remember the Hood to Hood DVDs
I
where
do.
they would come to different hoods all over the country and they're not online anywhere, man. I had that collection, Joe. Remember that? And the Stop Snitching DVD, that's uploaded to YouTube though.
Those Hood to
That
Hood Jones, like they got pages for them on Mix Unit, but they don't got no copies no more.
got you.
I don't know, put that shit out into the universe, it might get there. So
Yeah, right.
you know, back to the topic at hand. Where could I
Yeah.
read? What's it called? The Wheel of San Geronimo.
Oh, so the Wheel of San Geronimo, that was the first story I sold. It's on a website called Snarl Journal. That's SNARL journal.com. And they also it was in a print issue as well. And yeah, that's where you can get that joint.
So and so you showed that to I assume your wife, right?
I did actually. I did. I showed it to my wife. Yep.
And you didn't think it was let's not say worthy, but you didn't think it had market value, and she convinced you to give it a shot.
I didn't know what the market was. I didn't know anything except for eyeglasses, rap music, and selling drugs. Like I didn't know the forum or what platform, whatever to do with writing. And then my wife was like, "Nah, you need to send it somewhere." And then I had to figure out where to send it, and that was a whole nother journey, you know.
Did you find the process to, you know, let's say from there to getting the book published? Did you find that to be intimidating?
Nah, bro, because I've been through it in the rap industry, and
Shit, word.
however intimidating any rise up in any field is, it's nowhere near as rough as rap or dope for real. Like, yo, like I'm gonna give you a prime example, right? If I hit up my favorite, let's say I hit up one of my favorite rappers, right? most of my favorite rappers, they're not super big, but they're not local either. So they got a couple million views on their YouTube videos, but they ain't blown yet. You feel me?
Gotcha.
If I hit one of them up, let's say Young Moose, for instance, although he cool. Let's say I hit someone like that up and I was like, yo, bro, I'm so influenced by your music. It means so much to me. I just wanted to ask you a question. Like, how did you feel when writing that song, Green Light? Like, let's say I just asked him that. I mean, I doubt that would just be left on red, most likely.
Right.
Like, thank you, homie, or something at best. And it's not like that in the literary world if you're putting out a good product. And what I mean by that is I have reached out to my favorite authors, the ones I look up to, the ones whose books are on my shelf, motherfuckers that are big, not local, people who don't work 9 to 5s outside of writing books. That's they hustle. You feel me?
Right.
I've reached out to them. They don't know me from Adam, except for maybe they see my name here or there because of the stories I've sold, right? But they don't really know me. Yo, they all write me back. All of them. The world is different. The literary world is kind of soft compared
I'm
to
sure.
what you and I are used to. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's way easier to find the resources and information that you need as long as you don't do some shit that can get you canceled. And that same shit that you do that could get you canceled in the literary world is just like one bar in a 16 in every rap song that comes, if that makes sense. Like, for instance, I could be good in the literary world. I call a female a bitch. I'm
Oh,
done.
you're done. Yeah.
But in hip hop, I can rap about bitches all day in the music and nobody gives a fuck. You feel me? Yet at the same time, I can't get no help, can't talk to nobody, can't network or nothing because of the egos. So it's
Right.
weird. You feel me? So me, I just approached the literary world like I approached hip hop, which was put out good product, keep putting it out, and insert myself into the situations where the people doing shit above me are, so I can get to where they is.
Is the music all done? Are you ever gonna put out more music?
Oh, I don't want to, bro.
You was
I don't.
you was doing like some singing jumps a little bit, weren't you?
Little bit towards the end, I was doing some singing stuff. I was towards it, I I don't know. I don't think so. I don't get the So my bro, do you remember my bro Infrareds?
I do.
So Infrareds, right? That's my brother, right? And he he would come over and hang out, and I still got the studio and everything, fully ready to record and all that. And sometimes we'll record songs for fun, right? And he be wanting to put them out and stuff, and he does, and I like and comment, but that's not what I'm trying to do right now. What I'm basically saying to you is making music has become a fun activity that I do with a close friend of mine, and I'm good with it right there.
Now that I'm thinking about it, you made a video. I ain't trying to harp on it, but I totally forgot. One of them singing jumps, you made like a video, and it was like some super geeked out shit, right?
Um, I don't. You talking about the demonic video?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I ain't want to say no wrong word on accident. Speaking about getting canceled in the literary world, but yeah, that one.
nah, the literary world is fine with Satanism and demonic shit and all that, which is funny because the hip hop world is not, right? Like
Right.
you can call people bitches and bust pistols and all that shit, but you put out a rap song worshiping the devil. If you ain't Uzi Vert, you're not gonna have a career after. You know what I'm saying? So
Or
it's funny you say that, but nah. Yeah, I remember that video. That joint got a lot of views actually. That joint did all right for me.
that was I'm about to go listen to that shit. I remember that being like a tremendous piece of music.
Thank you, man.
But I
Thank
mean,
you.
I, speaking of which, this ain't really no question, but it'd be dope if you. And I know I said this to you, but I'm trying to manifest it. It'd be dope if you put together a playlist of because I know you got good taste in music, and I know some of them quotes from your book. But for those who ain't read the book, between every chapter, he's got a rap quote that's somewhat pertinent to the events coming ahead. And you know, I don't know all them, and I try to keep up with the music, but it's a lot harder to keep up with the scene when you ain't there. So I really appreciate that.
I'm gonna do that. We did talk about that. I'm gonna make a playlist for it. I basically just have to make sure I lock up which quotes go with which songs. But yeah, you're right. Each chapter starts with a bar from a Baltimore rapper. Every single one that except for two of them. One of them is a quote from Laura Lippman, who is an author from Baltimore, and the other is a Jay-Z quote. And I only use the Jay-Z quote because he said, "I'm gonna go harder than Baltimore." You know what I mean? So it made sense. But yeah, I'm gonna do that, bro. I'm gonna definitely get that together and send it over your way.
Now, I was happy to see you had a Mully Man jump, man. I feel like Mully Man didn't get the credit he deserved, man. That one album that had like all the Rockefeller guest appearances on it, and it wasn't because of the Rockefeller guest appearances on. Like he was going hard, but it was a green CD. I don't remember what it's called. I know I got it somewhere.
You're at MLB. It's him like crouching on the like cover. Like I know what you're talking about. I think
And it had
so.
like Meth Bleak on a song, Freeway
Yeah,
on a song.
mm-hmm. It
Yeah, that shit was hard as fuck.
So I used the Mully Man quote to open up the whole book,
Yes.
and that was intentional. Um, I used a Mully Man quote to open up the book, and I used Smash, rest in peace, my brother, quote to close the book on purpose. I agree with you on that. I think Mully Man was, always will be an amazing artist from Baltimore and period, an amazing artist, but also a very good dude, who showed me a lot of love, always kept it 100 for sure.
Like that would go right along with having a soundtrack to, this is definitely cinematic. Are you gonna try to sell the movie rights, get a film made? But like, not obviously anybody would if they approach it, but it's like the way you wrote it was almost like framing a scene. Like I was like, man, my man definitely wrote video treatments out. He ain't just do them shits.
Yo, I did write it with so I wrote it with the idea of how it could transfer to film, but partially through the book, almost towards the end, my editor and Broken River Books author J. David Osborne, he said something that kind of switched up the way I was writing it. He was like, the cool part about writing fiction is you ain't got no budget. Like you ain't like if I want to have a crazy ass fight with all kinds of explosions and guns, I ain't gotta pay for that shit. I just write it. So I would love to see the book go to the screen. I do think it would be kind of expensive to do some of those fight scenes and explosions and shit, but I would love to see it happen one day. I
I mean,
would.
you get the Blumhouse, it get $20 to $30 million budget. I'm sure they could pull it off well with the right director. And that's quality work there.
Bro, you know who I would want, like, for real, yo? If I had a choice of who could direct that movie, yo, you ever seen the movie Mandy with Nicolas Cage?
I have Red River and all that shit. Yeah.
I think it's Paulo Cosmatos. I forgot what his name, Cosmatos or something, but that dude, I would want it to be like that, or the dude who did Crank.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? Just because there's a time limit on the whole book. That's so make it like high pace and all that.
I mean, he might be wild old now, but imagine if John Carpenter did that shit.
That'd be crazy.
That'd be some wild. So are you working on another book? And if so, well, I mean, obviously, I know you're gonna keep writing it. Are you gonna keep is Worm gonna keep having stories told about him? Is this the end of Worm? What's up with Worm?
Well, so when I finished the book, I realized that I loved the characters and the world that I had built for it. So I wasn't ready to let it go. So I left the ending kind of ambiguous. Did he survive at the end? Did he make it? But he did, because I'm currently working on Ghosts of West Baltimore, which is the sequel. And so I'm working on that. I got a few more short stories coming out, some anthologies and things like that, collections, websites, all that. And I'm working on another project with some other authors. that I can't talk about yet, not because of any weird shit like that, but just because I'm not exactly sure how it's gonna
You
be
don't want to get it
distributed.
wrong and shit, right?
Yeah, I don't want to fuck it up exactly who's on it and how it's getting put out. But yeah, I'm working on a sequel because man, that book took me a year to write. And when you hanging out with them people in your book for like a whole year, it's kind of sad when one of them you got to kill one of them off and shit. You're like, oh man, I ain't get to write about you no more. That motherfucker dead now.
Oh, so
So
that shit's true, huh? That ain't no shit authors just make up to sound like cool and clever and shit.
they say that shit.
Yeah, I've heard a few people say that, but like a lot of things, until somebody I know tell me, I don't know if they just be saying it to say it. You know what I mean? Like when somebody's on the football team and like the coach a Christian, everybody be praying, but I don't know if they really be devout. So I don't know if some of that shit was just like, the equivalent of authors praying.
Yo, that's a good point. Kind of like how everybody told us that when we was gonna have a kid, it was gonna switch us all up, and we were like, yeah, all right. But then it happened, and it actually is a thing. Yo,
Yeah,
but you're right about it. So I had, yeah, it definitely is a thing. Um, it's real. You put so much work into developing these characters, and then you're like, but I want more to happen. Like I in Ghosts of East Baltimore, I built a world with yes, it takes place in Baltimore, but it takes place in a Baltimore that's a little bit different from the actual Baltimore that exists.
it has like what's the drug, like hallucinogenic fentanyl? Would that be a good way to describe? I mean, I don't even know how to describe it. I know I'd never try that shit.
So the way I imagine the drug, so they get it out of a god or alien or whatever, right? So it's the blood from something. I didn't even work it all out in my head, honestly. So it's whatever the reader wants to think it is. But it's the blood of some creature, and it has hallucinogenic properties, but what it makes happen is whatever you hallucinate actually happens in reality. So the drug like bends the reality. So if you do the drug and you hallucinate somebody's head getting cut off, that motherfucker is gonna be cut off when you wake up. So it actually alters the reality. So that I don't know. It was just it was more so a metaphor for how
Yeah, that's what.
like that can happen in Baltimore and nobody will pay attention
Yeah,
because the city is overlooked.
I mean,
And
it's kind of like I like shit like that though, because that's like the reader interpretation. Like I said about the fentanyl, like fentanyl is like some shit that comes out of nowhere and kills you, which that is too. And I'm sure you see it up there, but I'm out here in Tampa too, by the way. But that fentanyl shit is terrible.
so Baltimore is King Heroin City. And one good thing you could always count on in Baltimore is that if you came to buy dope in Baltimore, that shit was gonna be good and it was gonna be dope. And the cool thing about that is you got to decide because there were two types of dope. You could get raw, which was what it was. It was uncut heroin, or you could get scrambled, which was bonita and the quinine and the dope. And it was fluffy, right? And it was cut. You knew it was cut because it was called scrambled. You feel what I'm saying? So like if you went up to Baltimore, it was like, all right, I want some raw. Cool. You knew you was getting some raw. If I was selling you raw, you knew I was selling you raw. If you weren't gonna get the cut shit because if you wanted it, you'd ask for scramble. You feel me?
Right.
And now it ain't like that because fentanyl came and destroyed everything. So now it's just oxys are $30. Are they real oxy? No, those 30s ain't been around in a while, and everybody calling them perks, even though perks don't go up to 30 milligrams. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like all just a mix of different fucking chemicals. And then you get the edazines and the bromozolam and edazolam and all the research chemical benzodiazepines that they be putting in the shit too. And that shit's fucking crazy because back in the day, if I had a Xanax and I had an Oxy and I was gonna sell it to you, I might say something like, yo, bro, go light. Don't do those at the same time. And you might say something and be like, no, I'm good, bro. And that would be our interaction. But see, nowadays you don't even have a choice because the shit that you buying might be both.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? So that shit crazy. But you interpreted it as like hallucinogenic fentanyl because one, it causes hallucinations, And two, in your perception as an American living in Florida, fentanyl is the scariest shit out there right now. And so yeah, your interpretation of that is perfect. That yeah, it's something that kill you and make you see shit. And that's once you hit that, that's it.
And fentanyl destroyed my ability to ever enjoy a fun drug again in my life, other than like dispensary weed. You know what I'm saying? Like I ain't trying to die. I don't went through too much shit to buy some acid or some shit and die of a fucking fentanyl overdose.
You feel what I'm saying? Like, yo, that shit is crazy. And then the thing is too that it's created a lot of problems beyond just the ones we talk about. Like so you know there are articles that'll come out about like weed being laced with fentanyl. So now I gotta argue with my fucking mama and be like, Ma, ain't nobody lacing weed with fentanyl and shit. She's like, you gotta be careful about the weed you're smoking. It might be laced with fentanyl. I'm like, Ma, listen, this is what happening. There's a dude out there who's selling dope and he also sells weed and he don't clean his scale before he weigh his different shit. That's how weed got laced with fentanyl. Ain't no motherfucker in the world lacing their weed with fentanyl on purpose and selling it. It doesn't make sense.
Right? It's like the supplements with the steroids in them. They weren't putting the steroids in them. They was over in China where that shit was legal, mixing them up in the same vats.
Exactly. So the problem that's creating now is now you got a whole group of reactionary people who watch the news and just react to like the immediate scare. And these motherfuckers out here now thinking that weed is as bad as fentanyl and shit like that. And then you got motherfuckers saying, oh, I don't even do coke anymore because now they lacing coke with fentanyl. No, they don't. Your drug dealer sells both. That's what's happening. And he's not cleaning his shit. But the point is, they kind of right though, because even though they're not intentionally lacing the shit, it's still getting laced, right?
Right.
Okay.
That's what I mean. Like, you know, I ain't never fuck with no coke or no dope or nothing. But I mean, there's fun drugs out in this world, and that now them shits ain't safe no more.
Right. Right. Like you said, like acid or Molly or any of that stuff, because yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, that's just
you know about the ayahuasca.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
You fucked with that?
No, bro. There's some,
is that your type of shit? Would you?
Like now? No, because
well, I mean, you know, I'm talking about like the whole you gotta go like to South America and be in like the rainforest and all that type of shit.
Yeah,
because you know that shit makes you throw up for like the first 12 hours or something.
Yeah, it does. And then you're supposed to have a very unique experience. I mean, they've talked about people hooked on dope not having to go through withdrawal after they take it and shit.
Yeah.
Like,
never smoking cigarettes again and shit.
I'll be honest with you though, there's some drugs that I just probably even if I wasn't married and didn't have a daughter, I mean, I just have an aversion to ayahuasca. That would be one of them. DMT.
I did that once down here.
Yeah,
I like fought it, so I ain't go to like the little magical world or whatever, right? Like
yeah.
I fought that shit. I was like, man, I ain't trying to go out. But the Virgin was on, and like all the people looked like alien people or some shit, and it lasted for like 20 minutes. I mean, it did make me feel funny, but I mean, I guess I ain't do the shit right. I probably wouldn't fuck with it again. It wasn't nothing. I was all like, yeah, this is dope. I like mushrooms way better.
I'm afraid of the. Well, excuse me, I shouldn't say. I'm not afraid. I'm apprehensive about certain drugs because if I've done other drugs in that family of drugs and had a like so you know, I used to smoke dope here and there back in the day. For those who don't, that's PCP, right? It's liquid PCP. So like you know, I've seen some things happen off that, you know what I mean? People say some things that it's not the drug that I'm apprehensive about. It's the drug's reaction with my mind and some of the repressed things that I may not have dealt with yet. And I would hate to like hurt myself or somebody unintentionally because the drug opens up some
old. See, that's why I fuck with the mushrooms. It ain't no bad trips. You know what I mean?
Right. So I've done mushrooms before, and I've never had a bad trip off mushrooms. The worst reaction I've had off mushrooms is that like feeling where you like feel like you have something in your throat. I don't know how to explain it,
I know what you're talking about.
like you keep swallowing. But other than
Or
that,
like want it to be over. Like that'd be my problem with them type of shits. They be taking too long. I
man,
wish there was like a 3 hour version. You know what I mean?
yo, one time we ate some shrooms, and then when it was time to eat food, we just ate shrooms again instead of eating food. And I feel you, because by the time it was ending, I was just like, I don't think I can handle any more of this. Got the fortitude in my brain. It's gonna snap. But yeah, some of that stuff. I don't know, man. Like, I've seen some things happen, and the idea of like of doing a drug and then losing the ability to connect, like your brain telling your foot to move and the connection isn't there anymore, so you're just stuck in a position like that's I think that's a very it's very I don't know the word for it, but I ain't fucking with it.
Undesirable.
Undesirable. It's very undesirable. I'm apprehensive to it. In my younger days, I feel as though I tried pretty much all drugs almost, you know, and the few that I haven't tried and all the new research chemical shit coming out, I'm good off that, because if you know how this research chemical shit works, bro, all they do is something comes out, it gets scheduled, and then the scientists, chemists, they go right back, they take a molecule off, they add a molecule, they put out a new chemical, and it's legal till it gets scheduled. And I'm just like, how many molecules can you remove from LSD before it's something that like makes you fucking lose your mind permanently? You feel me?
Word. Or have like some wild ass cancer in 10 years or some shit.
Right, like that.
No doubt. All right, so to finish up, man, I ain't never too cool to ask. What's that shirt? That shirt is vicious.
Oh man, I'm really glad you asked, because I can shout out Lenny. This is a clothing line called Don't Be Yo by Lenny Walker, Lenwood. It's really cool. It's a Baltimore clothing line. And if you're looking for him, he's Lenny Walker, Don't Be Yo. And you look it up, he's got hoodies, he's got kids' clothes. My daughter got a little matching joint to it too. Thanks for asking, bro. I'm glad I got to shout him out that way.
No doubt. So your 18-month daughter, so that means he got infant clothing.
She does. Absolutely.
Well, shit, bro. Oh, go ahead.
I'll send you the information for it.
Well, shit, man. I can't tell you how proud I am of you that you wrote a book. That's something I always be threatening to do, and I guess I ain't had the motivation, and hopefully you'll provide me some of that. But the book is awesome. It's a great read. I know I won't be returning it to Amazon. I'll be reading it 3 or 4 times in the next 10 years. It'll always be on my bookshelf. I definitely can't wait for Ghosts of West Baltimore. And just congratulations on the family and all your success, man. I'm glad to see you doing good.
Thank you, yo. Congrats to you and your family too, man. I appreciate it. And you should write a book, bro. I've known you long enough to know you've seen and been through some stuff in life and in this industry and all that. You got a lot to tell, man.
A little bit. About like you. But yeah, man, thank you for your time. And I'm going to holler at you soon, and we'll get you back on here real quick, because I definitely want to talk about some more shit.
Hell yeah, bro. I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Oh, no doubt. Take it light.
Welcome to the Super Facts Show on the Super Facts Network. I just appreciate you listening. So I'm not going to ask you to follow me on Instagram at Mark Waldo Ward. I'm not going to ask you to rate and review the show. I'm not going to ask you to subscribe to it. Thank you for your time.